One cool day,
Summertime.
that summertime south swell that
Usually doesn't hit this spot, and me and Matt were the only ones there.
Nice.
Just surf for hours by ourselves,
yeah,
which today is fairly rare.
yeah, it was perfect.
But it was perfect and going off, and we just surfed until our arms fell off for a couple hours, sharing waves together. Those are the ones you remember. That was a good one.
So, Matt,
Yeah,
we do this Vaquero show, over at the museum here every year in November,
right.
which has been going on, what?
come the last couple.
60 years, 40 years, 50 years, something like that.
Wow.
And I've been involved with it for maybe, I don't know, about 12 years with my hats over there.
Right.
And years ago, when I was over there, walking back, sometimes I'd check things out, and I stopped, and this striking young man just jumped out at me. And I would go back and look at that photo all the time. Every year I would stop and look at that thing and go, man, that guy.
It used to be on a wagon when they used to have a wagon in their museum when you used to walk in, but I think it
was in a showcase somewhere, right? And so I always thought that was kind of unique. So somewhere along the way, you and I met, and I don't remember how that got brought up.
We met over at the museum during that show one year. That was about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I actually I had an old hat that I wanted you to kind of make a copy of, and you took the measurements and all that, and that was that hat.
The prototype of
the Gacero or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but that's how we met. I remember that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how that came up, but I brought it up somehow, and the photo of that real striking man was your grandfather,
right?
Which
the picture was floating around here somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which you've been sharing some really cool stories about.
Yeah.
About your grandfather, and what was his name?
Wayne. Anthony Wayne. Yeah.
Anthony Wayne
But
Miller.
he went by Wayne.
Wayne Miller.
I guess his nickname was Buster. I just recently learned that. I'm not sure if that was good or bad, but if he was a troublemaker or what, I don't know.
It looked like he could hold his own.
Usually earned Buster as a nickname.
Yeah.
Was he friends with, good buddies with Coda? With Juan?
Yeah, he and Juan Coda were real good friends. Oh, I forgot to bring that photo. I have a photo of Juan Coda at the San Marcos Ranch. But,
is that like the market across the street, Coda? I think it was Juan E. Coda, right?
Yeah, it was Coda Market.
Like
and anyway, so yeah, he and Juan were real good buddies. They, ranched together and I think bunked together here and there. And funny story about that, I was in my local market down in Ventura, Vaughn's. And this is the weird thing. So I'm in line at the cashier, and there's two ladies, and I think they are twin sisters. Anyway, and they were talking to the cashier, and they were from here, but they're down in Ventura. I'm not sure why, but they got to talking and saying blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, my grandfather used to live on the Chumash Reservation. And they looked at me like, no. And I go, yeah. And then they came out, they were doing research and writing a book on Juan Coda.
Oh, no way.
And I said, well, Juan Coda, I go, that's my grandfather's, like his best friend. And they looked at me and they just took off. There's no way this white guy knows anything, but they got, oh my God, this guy's, something's wrong here, we got to go. But yeah, and I gave him my number actually. I go, I got picture, I got stories, and never heard from him.
And that was some Chumash?
Yeah, there were a couple sisters, I believe.
Sisters?
Anyway, I don't know if they ever wrote the book or not, but that was kind of a funny, odd thing to happen.
Yeah.
Down there in Ventura in a market. Random thing, but yeah.
Your grandfather has a lot of history up here in the San Ynez Valley.
Yeah, he was born here out on the Armour Ranch, which I guess in the family history books here, it was called, I think, the College Ranch.
Yep.
And so my great grandfather, Joseph Miller, had rented or leased that from the San Ynez Mission. And he started farming the Armor.
And Happy Canyon area too?
Yeah, out there. And that's when my grandfather was born in 1886. But they were here, reading through the history, they were here long before that. The information I have is mostly on my grandfather's mother's side of the family, which are the Jamesons with an I. They came from Jamestown, back east, survived Jamestown, spread out into Chevy Chase, and Georgetown had acreage, made their way here and came here and settled here. And I guess we had property, several thousand acres in Santa Maria at one point. Another person they had like 4,000 plus acres in the Santa Maria, Punta de Laguna Rancho, I think it was called. They bought this acreage, and then some years later they got sued and lost the land. And they got sued because back then, when you bought property, all the family members had to agree.
Yeah.
Well, there's one son wasn't old enough. And when he became of age, he said, wait a minute. I didn't get a chance to say, and so he sued him, and then I guess he paid off the attorney or something, so they lost that property.
That kind of happened in the Hollister story. That's same type of thing.
Yeah.
The history of Goleta and Rancho dos Pueblos, there's some of that in there too, and in your family too.
Yeah.
The Presidio and the Bojorquez family.
Yeah.
Lots of that stuff going on.
Sure.
A lot of that history just it kind of is interwoven right through. I mean, you run into somebody and it's like, boom, that history shows right there. And it's pretty neat.
Is that the same Jamestown that was from down at Refugio?
No, Jameson Reservoir.
It could. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's never traced back to that. I don't know.
A large number of the Jameson family in this area, between here and Casmelia and Naples, Goleta.
Yeah.
So they're all over, but a lot of them settled in what is, I think, known as Naples, but they call it Jamesonville.
Yeah.
But, we had several hundred acres out in Casmelia. And then, and they farmed around 300 or 400 acres of the Dos Pueblos Ranch.
Man, they were all over, huh?
They were, like my uncle said, they did a pretty good job of populating the valley. But they were, San Ynez didn't become a town until 1891, right?
I think that's about right.
Yeah, and so somewhere what is it called? The Santa Barbara, some book about Santa Barbara. It mentions all this and talks about it. And so like the Fields, McMurrays, Jamesons, and a couple other families were considered kind of the pioneers of the little town here, San Ynez.
And those are names that
they pop up everywhere.
All the time.
Yeah.
Roads.
It's interesting. Yeah, Mary Road,
everything.
Of course, Fields, Bits and Spurs, and I've got a couple.
Because, some great aunts, whatever, ran the motel that's over, not there, but where the feed store is.
Yeah.
And then, somebody, a cousin, some distant cousin, whatever, Red Barn. That was the big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go to Red Barn, dance Saturday nights. He was leading a herd of cattle down through Goleta, probably Naples area. And he said a motorcycle, of course, back then, that time, they always popped and made all kinds of noises and farting and whatnot. And so he's leading the herd through town. And there was some guy apparently started up his motorcycle, backfired and made all that noise they did, and it spooked the cattle. So they stampeded and ran him over. And he talks about how he got drug along and spurs were sparking and all that. And then he finally crawled over behind a palm tree, but it broke his leg in several places. Yeah. And then,
this is Wayne?
Yeah. So they went to the hospital there in Santa Barbara. And there's another name I think comes around, the Canaan, Doc Canaan. Canaan's a kind of prominent. Anyway, he wanted to amputate the leg.
Oh,
and my grandfather says, no, I'll lay here as long as it takes, and I'll take it with me. And he did. So yeah. He had all kinds of stuff like that.
Pretty tough hombre.
Yeah. Didn't mess around. So that's one story. And then they used to drive cattle all the way down along the beach to Hueneme. He talked about offloading some when he worked down at the ranch, Vale Vickers. Sometimes they swim them in at Taylor Ranch there in Ventura. But before they could take them to Hueneme, they boat them down to San Pedro.
They covered a lot of ground.
Yeah.
I mean, you said your grandfather used to go down to Malibu and drive cattle down there from.
I don't know if they went to go from here down to. He talked about taking them down to Hueneme, maybe further. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then again, spent time in San Pedro because that's where the Vale Vickers used to originally would
Offload.
All the way down there?
Yeah, before they started going to Hueneme.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so he was working for the Vale Vickers, but he was in their Arizona operation when they got the island. So then
And they always kept both those running.
yeah, and he went out to the island and worked out there for a while.
Yeah.
And that's where he got that one bit that was his daily driver. Somebody out there gifted him this bit, which was pretty old bit. And
Yeah, I want to actually pull that over. One of these is a horsehair rope. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Matt? Or Makati?
yeah,
Not a
so
rope.
this rope he made when he was about, 14. About my dad said it was made around 1900,
Wow.
which would have made him about 14, 15 years old. So this is an old horsehair rope. And there, years ago, the local station down in Ventura made a video, a little documentary, and he brought some of the same stuff he brought to that show. And he demonstrated, they brought in some hair, and he demonstrated how you
Yeah.
kind of fluff it, bundle it, and then start twisting it, and how to make these ropes. Yeah.
That's really cool.
So yeah, this
It was like a public Ventura local station.
yeah,
right?
it was a little local
Yeah.
Ventura cave. And then, so this is the bit that he got when he was out on the island at Vale Vickers.
Wow.
And I'm just another guy, cowboy, whatever,
That worked
gave
out
that
there?
to him. Yeah.
And you figured this bit is about 140 years old?
Yeah, so he,
Kinda right in there.
in the late 70s, when he did that documentary, he said this bit was probably about 100 years old at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he did a little work here on this and himself, and then
Is there any
yeah.
markings on that?
Then he made this
and then
these Rommel reins too, right?
yeah, he made all these, and
Yeah.
and this is
really
where
nice work.
yeah, and he did all this it was interesting. He didn't have like to cut the bevels in and stuff. He'd set a knife and get a lemon branch, tree branch. He'd get a knife set in there, and he'd just pull along like it's a little gizmo or device you can set bevels in. Most guys have,
Yeah.
you've seen them, but he just and
Old school it.
but he learned how to do this when he's living on the Chumash Reservation. That's where he said he learned how to do all.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, and growing up, I helped him a lot with doing that. I helped pull the strings through and strands through, scrape the hair off the hide, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We'd get a piece of glass, broken glass, and just scrape off. That was kind of not a fun job.
That's a little bit of work.
But, you're a little kid, you just do what you're told.
And you're in the process of taking these to maybe Ed,
Yeah, I'm trying to get some
Bruce Hayner and
see if
get some value and maybe some information on it.
information, correct.
And then this is
So the little Rayada he
Little
made
Rayada.
me for, I think I was in 5th grade, 11 years old or so. He made this for me. It's kind of fun to play with.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you've lent me his saddle, which is sitting right here.
Yeah.
Any history and story on that one?
As far as I know, that's a champion saddle, or they don't.
I think so.
Champion turf, I think they're called. They're out of business now. They're out of LA, but they made pretty nice saddles. Made a lot of parade saddles back in the day for all those old movie stars and stuff.
Yeah.
All the silver. But that was given to him by his buddy down in Ventura, a gentleman by the name of Clyde Hunt. And Clyde was a local rancher down there as well.
Yeah.
And that's the saddle I learned on as a kid.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. That's, that was it. Yeah.
Right on.
So that was his saddle for as long as, I knew.
And then these were his kind of go-to spurs?
Yeah. These are his spurs. I'm not sure the history on these.
Those are cool.
But he's had those for at least since, who knows. We got a picture somewhere of him in 1926 or so there in Ojai, that one picture where he's got the hat and the riata all
I think
spread
I've seen
out.
that, yeah.
He's got He's got the big heel boots like those over there. But that was the time when he was the blacksmith in Ojai, there in the late 20s.
You said he was blacksmithing?
Yeah.
Oh,
He had a
okay.
little blacksmith shop there in Ojai right before the Depression there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then,
Interesting.
so I know those have been on his boots since at least the 20s.
Did he wear those on his Packer boots?
I never saw him in those Packer boots.
That was before your time.
Yeah.
He's pretty young in that photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was about 19, probably
He's really
18 in that
nice.
photo. Yeah.
That little
Yeah.
X marking
Yeah.
right there is kind of what I found on
Yeah.
the Medano.
That could be. It looks a
Spurs.
lot like some of the ones I saw in the Carriage Museum. Yeah.
That X could
Medano
have
bit,
something.
maybe?
but-
Yeah.
I know Hayner would pick right up on that.
Yeah.
And it probably most likely was, right? I mean,
Yeah. Could be the time's
You know.
not right. Who knows?
Yeah, they were kind of one of the go-to guys to have that.
the Medano bits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's possible.
Neat history. Neat history.
Yeah.
So you're getting out in the water quite a bit, doing some surfing whenever you can?
More than I have in the last few years. Yeah. It's been nice. Yeah.
Do you wear your KJ surf hat?
We need to make one of those.
I thought that was sort of the concept with those.
KJ hoodie for
Are you
that
getting
out in the water.
Well, you can wear it out in the water.
Are you getting in
We
the
can
water
make-
more since you retired?
Oh yeah.
Matt was a teacher for how
Yeah.
many years?
Yeah. Over 30.
Yeah.
What were you teaching?
I started out teaching like high school history and got a little bit of everything. I did history and world civ, and then I did biology class for a year, and then I got into special ed.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did you ever do any local history with the kids? Like kind of what we're talking about? Or
No. I wish I could have. Is like back then it was
yeah,
like
it's not
just
curriculum. Huh?
Not curriculum.
Yeah.
Yeah. So between that and doing a lot of the stuff with Los Padres, didn't have a lot of water time for a while.
Yeah. I get that.
Yeah. But now, yeah, in the first few months there in the fall, I was going quite a bit, even though maybe there wasn't any rideable. Even if it's small, I just go out and take out a board and, prone out belly board or
Go get
whatever.
wet.
Just get wet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw a cool sticker. I was in this local surf shop, I don't know, back in the fall. And anyway, there's a gal, I walk in, there's a gal in her pajamas and shopping. I made some kind of comment and both laughed, but she, on her van, she had a sticker that said, "Salt water can fix that." And that was kind of been my motto. From that point
good
on,
one.
it's like, I don't care if doesn't have to be big. If I can go out and at least get a little glide, no matter what, then yeah, it seems to be the thing to do.
I've heard that statement actually a lot lately.
Yeah.
Yeah, how it can straighten you out and everything.
Yeah.
What surfboards? What are your go-to boards that you like to?
Pretty much Greg Liddle's.
Yeah.
Some Paul Gross's. Yeah. So, and
That's That's how we met.
That's how we met. So I would go in the Liddle shop, and I was up at Cal Poly at the time, and I'd go into the shop, and one day Greg goes, "Do you know Kirk Putnam?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Well, he's up in your area, and he goes up to Morro Bay and this, that, and all this." And I go, I do kind of remember a picture of him and Yater in a 70s magazine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that one. I think Fields
We're in
was
the shop.
Yeah.
John Shields.
Shields, yeah. But anyway, Greg goes, "Man, you guys, you should meet. You guys probably get along." And eventually I met him there one day. I was riding my bike. I was living at Pierpont, and I was riding my bicycle, and I'd ride every morning, early morning, up to the C Street to the point there, get an idea what the surf was doing just for exercise as well. And I'm coming back, and I'm on the south side of the pier, and there's just this, I think it was a Toyota or Chevy? Anyway, pickup truck. And I could see sticking out of the bed of the truck, the tail and the fin. And of course, the flex fin is what these boards are about. And I see this flex fin. I go, I don't recognize. And I riding by, and there's no, but I could look at the board, and I go, I know exactly what that is. And I turned around. Anyway, he comes walking, I think, from the beach. And I go, "Hey, you KP?" He goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Hey, and that's how we met." And yeah. And
I never surfed there since. It's the only day I probably ever surfed there since like the late 60s. Yeah.
That's funny because.
But we were getting boards from, Greg had retired.
Yeah. So
moved to Kauai.
It was a Paul Gross board at the time.
And immediately after that, we were
yeah.
surfing together a lot.
Nice.
And then we started building boards with Paul Gross because Greg didn't want to build boards anymore.
Yeah.
So Paul used to glass for Greg and was a really good shaper. So we started doing boards in Ventura. We're riding for him and doing designs and stuff. And
Nice. What time frame was that?
Early 90s.
Early 90s,
Yeah.
And then around 94 or 5, maybe we talked Greg back into making boards again.
Yeah. It was right, about 95. I was living with Mobley at that time. And I remember the first board I got from him was a 7. This is the one we went up to, when we took all those boards up to Sand Dollar.
Yeah.
It was like a 7.5 was the first one Greg sent me after not making them for a while.
And then Greg sent me boards from Kauai for years and years. And
then we had him do the super smoothie.
Yeah, we got older. We stopped riding 7-foot boards. Went to 8-foot
compete
boards.
With 20-year-olds on their 10-foot logs when you're a 50-year-old on a 7-foot board.
Yeah.
And
40s from 7 to 8. 50s from 8 to 9.
It
just kind of keeps going for me. I'm right around 11, 12 feet now. The older you get, the longer your board gets.
Yeah, no more 7s. It's either 8 foot or up. I got a series of 8 foot, different 8-footers from Greg.
Gotta be able to paddle.
You need to get Kev on that. He's still riding a 6'3" Black Beauty.
I was just going to say that.
I got that picture of me on the one, or the picture I sent you this morning, where I'm in the pocket. That's on the super smoothie.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like series of 8-footer, different templates, 8-foot length, and then it went to the super smoothie, mid 8-footers.
We just refined the same shape.
Yeah.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
Same feeling. Still feels like a hull. And
so I got some from Greg, some from Paul, and then Blinky down at Ventura Surf Shop, I collaborated with him on making a big old glider. And we kind of did it with the old school logo. So it was kind of cool. Yeah.
One really neat thing about this Central Coast area is, you could be pushing cattle on the beach in the morning and in the afternoon find yourself out in the water. And And, it's pretty unique. I think
many places like
this area. And we've got, a lot of friends that do that. And, and get to take advantage of what the California coast has to offer.
Yeah.
Well, it's right here. I mean, the X and I, that was our thing. We'd go ride in the morning, and 10 minutes later, or 10 minutes after that, you're in the surf. you know?
Ground tie on the beach and go run out.
Yeah. It's kind of a cool story. I was down in the middle of nowhere, Baja, on a little point down there in one year, and camped out, and this other two guys pulled in one day. Super cool guys. And more into fishing. Well, they surfed. They longboarded, but they're way into fishing. But they're from Cayucos, Morro Bay area, which I spent years at. We got to talking, and there's an example. The one guy, I forget his name. I know the family up there, big, long-time ranching family in the Cayucos area. Here he is, cowboy, but down there surfing. Another example
Mike Armstrong.
was Mike Armstrong. He, Laguna Beach guy, and he's got, avocado ranch up there, but obviously he surfed.
Did he win the Pipe Masters one year,
I think he did. He did.
So he was a real pipe specialist from Laguna.
Yeah.
I think I
And then
remember
his
that
family,
name.
he's
kind
got
of
a nice
lanky
place.
guy.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Mike, so the first time when I went up to Cal Poly, a friend from high school had already been there for about a year. And he goes, "Hey, I'm going to take you to the spot." And it's a really neat wave. And we go to the spot, and it's a sunny Saturday and glassy, not sheet glass, but glassy with a little bump on it, being at Central Coast. And we paddle out, but paddling out, there's a lot of exposed dry reef. And we get out there, and it's like, easy 8 foot, whatever. It's low tide, and it's top to bottom. And I went to paddle in on a wave, and I just looked down, and there's just dry nothing. And I'm just going, shit.
Take a
And
highline.
then here comes Armstrong. Of course, he's goofy foot, so he's on a right going back. So he's on his little 6 foot whatever, just flying and boards chattering. He's just ripping across this big monster hollow tube, and like just there's the dry reef, and he's just let's go. Okay, I'm out of here. That's So
Pipeline surfers are used to that.
yeah, I go.
Yeah.
That's the level you got to be at now.
Yeah.
We eventually surfed it a little bit more and had some fun out there, but yeah.
Yeah. That's up in Cayucos area?
Central Coast area.
Somewhere-
It's a
secret
spot.
spot?
There's still some pretty
it's
wild
pretty-
spots up there.
Yeah, it's pretty protected. I don't think it's as protected as it is or
No.
was, but
Me by
Having the
people?
college.
by the locals,
Yeah.
I think. But I'll just not say the name.
Oh,
But yeah, that was
I know where you're.
Yeah.
Now I know what you're talking about.
but yeah, that was pretty awesome to see that.
On the right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
There's a
heavy
good little
spot.
left off there too, but that was a date I'll never forget with Armstrong, and of course, like I said, he's up there ranching and stuff. So
Yeah.
there's that connection.
Yeah, he's been up there a long time now.
Yeah, and then Graham, those Padres outfitters, he surfs, not so much anymore, but
But man, he's got a great spot to watch Rincon.
Oh yeah. Well, I got a picture of that somewhere too.
You've got a great picture. We'll
But
insert
yeah, it
somewhere
was
along the
fun
way.
working up on that ranch.
The Rincon Ranch, those boys, the Browns were surfers.
Yeah, that's true.
they were
John
young and
Tony.
surfing Rincon when they were young.
Yeah.
That's old school
It
carpentry
just makes
locals.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys, if they're not surfing, they're still out on the water fishing and
Yeah.
Yeah.
kayaking, whatever. So it's just a natural. It's there. It's like
Surfing,
the lake is here,
fishing.
but if you're on the coastal range,
All of the
there,
ranching.
it's right there, and you can't help but at least try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Vale Vickers, how were you guys involved in that?
So my grandfather worked for them, and at the time was out on their Arizona location. Then they purchased the island, and he transferred out there to work out there. So he talked about how
They went
take 'em
back
down
and
to
forth
South
back
Region.
then.
Yeah, but
I think the early days, the Cowboys, at some time of the year, they would kind of go back and forth between Arizona and
he's
the
got an
islands.
interesting story. One that he enjoyed anyway telling. out on the island, and there was this Native American, part Native American, whatever. It doesn't matter. But
The old lady that lived out
no,
there?
it was a guy working, one of the workers, whatever. And so on off days, apparently he'd take a little rowboat or something and row out to the boat that was anchored out. And he's fascinated by the boats, I guess. And one day he's out there and the weather and surf came up, and he ended up he's trying to get back in anyway, got picked up by a wave and tossed him in the boat and everything, rowboat or whatever, onto the point there and messed him up pretty good. So someone told me how to learn how to swim, and he said, well, how do I do that? My grandfather said, I think it was the foreman, said, just tie a rope around, go out to the pier, tie a rope around, he meant his waist, and get down in the water, and then you can, start paddling in the rope. You're not going to drown or nothing. So apparently this guy tied it around his wrist.
Oh, no.
And he didn't measure it. So he jumped off the pier.
Oh, my God.
Didn't make it. And like my grandfather about snapped his toenails off, but it really
That could have
pulled his
hurt.
arm out. Like his arm got 3 feet longer. So he ended up in the hospital they took him down to San Pedro, and when the boat went down next, and
Oh, wow.
they went down there, and he supposed to stay longer. Anyway, he apparently snuck out when he knew the boat was coming back in. He snuck out of the hospital before he was supposed to. Anyway, got it back and came back to the island. So that was a funny little
He
thing.
wanted to
Think
keep
of
his
easier
job.
ways to learn how to swim.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
That was a miscommunication of sorts. Huh?
Yeah, totally.
What year would that have been?
God.
Bales and Vickers.
This is right after, so in the 1911, somewhere in there.
Is that about when they
10, 7,
started that?
somewhere in there.
I've got a book floating around
Yeah.
that Pete
Yeah.
Healy. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
It's a good book.
Good book. Yeah.
On the whole history of the
Yeah.
Is that Cowboy Island?
range. Cowboy Island, yeah.
Yeah, I got that one.
So,
That's a good one.
Ralph used to work out there when they needed, whatever done. And I wonder, what time frame?
He was out.
Roger.
This has been from the time they got it to, I don't know how long he was out there.
50s?
No, he didn't stay that long, because by 1920 he was in Ventura.
Yeah, that'd be a long time, huh?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be probably before, Ralph.
Yeah,
I'm sure Ralph probably knew him.
yeah.
A lot of history with that. Pretty sad how that ended up,
Oh, yeah, it's a bummer.
All the elk. Yeah, however, they just removed everything, and that could have still been going. That could have been a money earner. But
Yeah.
They didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So,
Probably
kinda
liability.
sad.
There was a lot of neat things out there, huh? Now
Yeah.
there's practically nothing. I don't know. I haven't been out
You
there in a
can
while.
I think
still
you
go to
still
Santa
can.
Cruz from Ventura and do
Yeah.
a tour.
Yeah.
A buddy of ours, Chuck, does a lot of kayak tours out there and stuff.
Can you
Oh, does
camp
he?
on it too? Is that the island where you can
Yeah, you
walk
can go
across
back
and camp on
in.
the backside?
There's off Santa Cruz by the pier, there's a little camp back there, and
Yeah.
you can go stay there. I think you can get a permit for Rosa Island, Santa Rosa Island, but
Yeah.
You can
I'm
surf.
not sure. You can surf, yeah. If you want to take a chance. I'm not doing it so much anymore. It's a little sharky.
A lot sharky.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
I don't
couple
think
of homebrewers.
I'm over that surfing
Yeah.
out at the island thing.
That's how we used to feel about Surf Beach, and then
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
It's a long paddle
2008.
from the boat, huh?
all of a sudden
It
our
can be.
fears came true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody used to surf out there a little bit, Surf Beach, and that was always, I thought, kind of a weird.
it's spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah, the water was always like it had a choppy.
I still can go in
Weird
Vandenberg because of my son being in the Coast Guard, and in Vandenberg, it's
Same
spooky.
thing. Yeah.
Well, we always thought it was sharky until 2008 when they
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
got the boogie boarders.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
And same,
Two in a
same
two in a
day.
summer.
Well,
I think it was.
Two in a row. Was the same.
Yeah.
Same week or same day.
Yeah.
We were talking about that in the last episode, but
Well, and there was
Kyle was a guy named Kyle that I don't see anymore, but they hung his surfboard up at Backdoor. Remember
Oh.
Backdoor Board Shop that was in Solvang?
he was tagged there a few years before that, huh?
Man.
Maybe one
The
or two
tail
years.
got bit, right?
Tail got bit, yeah. And then I saw him at Halama like the next day. I'm like, man, so what? No big deal. He was just kind of built like that. But then, yeah, those two unfortunate people,
Yeah.
It was almost a
Sure.
year to the day, right?
Yep.
They
Those two. And then
got
there was
attacked
one
out
a
there.
little further down the third year, I think, but not good.
Kind of same as at Guadalupe, the river mouth, and
Yeah.
that whole stretch.
Yeah, that's all spooked out there.
I don't know how you could go out after that,
No.
but people
I fished out
still
at
do.
Guadalupe. It's still spooky.
You've gotten some good surf. I've seen some good photos of
Yeah.
at the ranch.
Yeah.
Well, the past month it's been
Pretty
on fire.
beautiful.
Yeah, it was good. Big, that big swell was really big.
Yeah.
And the guys that boated in couldn't set anchor, and it was just too much swell. It just ramped from about 9:30 in the morning. It really jumped up, and
Yeah, that's
nobody had enough chain, to drop
Yeah.
anchor safely.
Yeah.
So
I saw some pictures of Rincon in the morning that were just
I think
never
this,
seen anything
yeah,
like that.
it
not since
hit
69.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen it that big. 69 was bigger and cleaner.
cleaner.
Everybody, that's the benchmark. Is that swell?
69, yeah.
And I saw that,
Yeah.
but there was some big waves at Rincon.
Yeah. Big waves down.
Not as
into
clean,
the-
but
yeah.
man, some guys dropped in on some really, really big waves.
Yeah.
Seen it that big maybe a few times, but that's definitely up there.
What was amazing to me on that Thursday was it kind of hit, like you said, around about 9 in the morning. All of a sudden, this machine because it was already 8 foot, and there were a few guys that made it out. But then, like around 9, I was down there. I rode my bicycle down there to check it out, and all of a sudden, this machine turned on, and it just was
Just fired.
nonstop, and the waves were pretty close together.
Yeah, the intervals maybe 15, 18 seconds.
I sat there for a good hour or so, and there was this no interval or no lull. And there's a few guys, I watched a couple of people try to get out and broken boards and washed to the pier and stuff like this. Just
A lot of water moving.
a lot of water movement, but
Yeah.
the consistency just, a lot of times you get those swells and there's a lull and a little window of sorts to get out. It just didn't stop all.
That
later
happened in
the
69 too.
Yeah.
You could get out in the morning and then it just ramped up.
Yeah.
The water just started moving. And from the rest of the day, it just went up.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Getting over your head pretty quick.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Do you and KP have any surf stories you'd like to
Oh,
share?
we got lots of them.
Anything together?
One cool day,
Summertime.
that summertime south swell that it was.
Usually doesn't hit this spot, which we won't mention, but it did.
It
It
did.
was just, and me and Matt were the only ones there.
Nice.
And it was just,
Surfed for hours by ourselves,
yeah,
which today is fairly rare.
Yeah.
it was perfect.
It was perfect and going off, and we just surfed until our arms fell off for a couple hours, sharing waves together. Those are the ones you remember. That was a good one, and a couple of epic
Yeah,
Old Yeller.
the Old Yeller day. That was a good day.
I had a board that Paul Gross shaped called Old Yeller, and
I think it's on his blog site now or something.
yeah, I sold it to Jesse in Lompoc, and he resold it, but some guy got it. Anyway, this board was a haul from tip to tail, about 8'10".
It was 810. It was a semi gun. It was
Rocket ship.
It was a rocket.
We break it out on the good days.
Yeah.
Share it.
And a lot of hole in the bottom and pretty thin
Bladed out.
bladed out. It was pretty straight rock.
Yeah. Went really, really fast.
So he made it for one person, and I think surfed it once and didn't like it. So
Tom Chimino.
Chimino. So KP ended up with it, and was sitting. And so I talked to him. Let me try that thing, man. And
Then I couldn't get it back from him for
Yeah.
a while. Typical.
Yeah. Standard.
yeah,
Chimino's from
7
your
to 8
area.
feet on.
yeah.
Tom Chimino is from Torrance.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Chimino. It doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah,
A lot of people.
He
down
surfed
there.
Malibu a lot.
Yeah.
yeah,
Real good trimmer. Kind of a mental case, but he was a nice guy. Good surfer.
And then you surf the ranch quite a bit.
The most I surfed it was,
Or I should say, any particular days stand out.
so yeah, my friend Connie. I used to go in with her a lot.
Connie Morgan.
Connie Morgan.
Her dad,
Kirby
Morgan.
Kirby Morgan
diving helmets.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So yeah,
They were dating.
well, I lived at our place.
Her dad had a
Anyway,
parcel at the Halls.
yeah, I think he had one of the first, if not the first, parcels they sold up there. And so we'd go on. I know why he's laughing.
Yeah.
Phone booth day.
We're not going to tell that story.
I called him from the phone booth there.
He got a nickname from this story. I'm not going to tell. I won't bring that one. Well,
yeah,
maybe
anyway.
I should. Frenchie.
Yeah.
so always cut it out.
So anyway, so had some fun times there.
Yeah.
Boated in with him.
I probably surfed that more.
Yeah, he surfed it way more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Focused on that.
Yeah.
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 And we focus on spots that were down in Ventura.
Yeah.
You know.
For me,
had
growing up, it
access
was
to.
more
Matt grew up at had his family lived at Solomar.
outside,
Solomar.
like
Yeah.
Solomar and that area outside of town. That was kind of.
Did you ever get down into Hollywood by the sea at all, or?
Oh God, no! Just I went a couple times, but
More of a point surfer.
yeah. Like when I was
I
younger,
did.
I went over there. One time we went over there with my friend Mike Smith and Tom McCauley. And Mike was kind of known as, well, he'd been around since the late 50s. He was kind of a mentor to me growing up out there, Solomar. And everybody in Oxnard knew him because he surfed there a lot too. But we went over there one time and we're at the shores and stopped. Mike got out, went to go check the surf, and some guy approached him with a big old Bowie knife. Started threatening him, and Mike was going to ready to kill the guy. He didn't care, But one of the local Oxnard guys, Cliff
Collins?
maybe one of those guys said, "Hey, back off! This guy, he's
Yeah,
cool.
he knows
He's been around longer than you have." And so that was.
Cliff was cool.
So that was a
Passed
surf
away.
related. No, you're not going out type of thing.
Silver Strand was heavy.
But this is at the
surfed that a
shores.
few times. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
A little
And
different than
shores.
getting your windows waxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
That was
more than
Well, I
that
surfed
happened.
there, I surfed there a few times, but more up for a while. By the steam plant was kind of a thing.
I remember.
On the
Yeah.
harbor.
By McGrath.
I surfed Wainimi a lot
Yeah.
in high school.
Yeah.
A lot.
That steam plant, a friend of mine, Kevin, when I used to work at Canoa,
Oh, yeah.
I was in probably 8th grade and he took me out there and it was pretty big.
Yeah.
And Seth cleaned me up and somehow my leash got off and I was like floundering, in the rip. And he paddles up to me and he goes, "You all right?" And I go, "Nope." And he goes, "Where's your board?" And I'm all, "I don't know." So I went in and I'm, looking out there and he's looking out there and he's all, "Shit." It's like a mile out.
Offshore?
Yeah. And he
Yeah,
goes,
blowing offshore.
"I'll be back." And he paddled out there and
Kevin went out and got your board?
Yeah.
That surprises
got my
me.
board. Yeah.
You
That
work
place
at
was a
Canoa?
trip though. Uh-huh. Yeah.
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 So,
And Val surfed too.
Canoa down in
That was in
South Hermosa, whatever it was.
The Jergers,
Palos Verdes at the time.
Tuzo,
Oh, it was in PV.
Yeah.
and Kip.
Because one of my a buddy from college that lived at the time below our apartment, he surfed for Canoa, and they took him on a trip down to Peru, I believe.
Was he a big guy?
No, he's a short guy named Paul Barreras.
Paul Barreras.
I remember
He's a
that
goofy
name.
foot guy.
I probably saw him. I mean, I was
Yeah.
there all the time.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Just thought maybe, you never
out
know.
there, that was the only shop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys were funny.
Oh, they
Kip
were
and
a crack
Tuzo.
And Kevin.
And Kevin.
Those seemed like surfers had more personality back then.
Yeah.
Well, it seemed like more of a individual thing than it is now. Now it's a
Yeah.
group,
Yeah.
kind of a group. Like this
Yeah.
morning coming up, Rincon, it's like this big. It's not even clean. It's just little ripples. There's over a dozen people just
Sitting in the water.
bobbing. It's like, that would have
see
never
that.
happened. But
Weekend Warriors.
you would have done something else.
Yeah.
3-day
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah. The
Right
people
over.
were different
Yeah, it
definitely
is
back
all
then.
Yeah.
The soul,
There's a more
it was just,
definitely individual
Yeah.
soul thing. Yeah.
and that seemed to change by generation, it seemed like pretty quick.
Yeah.
And I remember that transition was like, wow, it's just not the same.
No.
You know, and that was like probably
Well, it became more money.
1978.
Yeah, kind of geared
Somewhere
toward
like-
money, winning contests and
Yeah. But
making a
people
living
changed
from
too.
it. Yeah. There's a good story about the Casamalia. They had 300 whatever acres. Anyway, so they were out there in Casamalia. And my grandpa, it's on that documentary, that film, but they had a traveling outfit come through, traveling fair or whatever. They had a shooting gallery. And so he and his stepbrother were just, bam, bam, just whipping the pants off this place, right? He said they go shoot and win, and they go next door to the saloon and have a couple shots of whiskey, come back, and boom, boom, boom. And finally, I guess there's a lady running it, the wife of the whatever, and she finally got mad at them and took the shooting rifles away from them because she'd taken all the stuff from her, winning every time. And so after she yanked the rifle, my grandpa pulled out his pistols. There was a cat running along he started firing off the cat, and he busted up some of the gears of the shooting gallery and stuff. And anyway, they called the police and they got that all settled, but he thought that was kind of a fun
Fun
little,
like something from a movie, doesn't it?
fun little story.
So was that, was it set up for real bullets too?
Apparently, I'm gathering it was.
BB
The good
gun
old
or
days.
22
Yeah,
maybe
so
back
maybe.
then?
Probably 22, I would guess, right?
No.
Yeah.
Back then, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
what bars are
funny.
missing nowadays.
Yeah. Definitely missing some stuff nowadays.
Yeah. So
Oh, I mean, that goes with having the rifle up in the back of your pickup in the window in the rack.
dude, high school,
that was-
man.
We had that.
That was pretty
Rifle
common.
racks. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Here, yeah. And
Oh,
when I
here
was
in the
high
valley,
school.
yeah.
Yeah. But that quickly went away,
It's too bad because
That's illegal now, right?
I think
well, if it's
California-
not, you're going to get pulled over,
California
I would
outlawed
guess,
the
right?
rifle racks.
You're going to get pulled. I haven't seen anybody with, I've seen some guys driving around with their hunting rifles unloaded in the back of their car, but
Yeah.
No, you
even
can-
that,
yeah.
even that is a little bit sketchy.
But having them in the window, that's
No,
we
that's
could tell what season it was by what rifles the people had in their rifle racks pulling into the parking lot at the high school.
that's cool.
Yeah, Is it deer season or quail season, whatever?
And it wasn't a problem then either.
And I sometimes have my shotgun in my little Volkswagen there.
And you can probably leave the truck unlocked too, huh?
Oh yeah,
Oh, man.
yeah. I didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about it.
Is that something like the good old days?
Yeah,
Yeah.
can't do that anymore.
Can't even leave your car unlocked
Oh
hardly
God,
anymore.
Well, we're
Mine was locked and got
not even around
stolen.
here.
My other truck,
Did it?
yeah, right in front of the house.
Somebody
That's a bummer.
broke into Branchino's truck and took one of his bows. Can you imagine
I
being
heard
caught?
that.
Can you imagine him being caught by Branchino?
Yeah.
That one, that
That
would go
guy's
well.
lucky he got away is what
Yeah,
I
that
think.
wouldn't go well.
Yeah. Huh. Not
Yeah,
very
it
friendly.
can happen. You never know.
Definitely happen.
Well, you got a nice little replacement out there now.
Yeah,
Fun rig.
yeah, it worked out. After all, I had the other one for so long though.
Yeah.
I'm surprised anybody would want to take it. It was like 22 years old, but in
How
really
many
good
miles
condition.
were on it?
Almost 300,000, but it was all manual. I ordered it from
Yeah.
the factory. Manual four-wheel drive, manual transmission, manual windows.
Yeah, I remember that.
Figured
They don't make that anymore. Not
who knew
manual.
was going to know how to even drive it?
I think they rolled it down the street.
Someone did.
Yeah.
Or rolled it down the street and
I had a buddy staying with us
got it in a flatbed.
from Poland, and he had only driven manuals. He didn't know how to drive an automatic.
That's different.
He couldn't figure it out.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You had that, and I think I got my that Land Cruiser. What year was your truck?
2001.
Yeah, I got the Land Cruiser in '87. Had it for 28 years. That was a good
Yeah.
one of the wagons. Last year, the stick shift. That's why
Yeah.
I thought of that.
Yeah.
So what were you doing out with Graham? Los Padres.
In a lot of pack trips in the first few years. The
Sespe,
into the Sespe, mostly Willets, taking people,
Bear Camp,
customers.
cooking a lot.
Yeah,
That's kind of what
So
we
when
gravitated.
you pack in
we
there,
gravitated to
you just
manual
basic-
cooking labor now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a big part of it, right?
Yeah, that's a big part.
Cooking.
So if you're a customer, all you got to do is bring your personal stuff, your clothing, your toothbrush. And if you don't have any sleeping gear or tents, that's provided. But we provide all the food and cook all the meals for you.
I was gonna say it's a big difference running those when there's water running in the back.
Oh yeah.
Versus
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Got to have some water. But and then it was really fun when we were up at Rose Valley, stationed out of Rose Valley for a while there. That was fun.
That was cool.
I was pretty
Was
much
he running out of there for a bit?
Yeah.
Rose Valley?
Rancho
I was there.
Grande.
I was every weekend and holiday. I was up there, spending time and doing. So the pack trip thing's kind of seasonal, but we're doing day rides.
You could ride right out of Rose Valley and go up
Yeah.
into the backcountry behind the ranch, and the
Yeah.
owner built out some really nice stuff there. And
Yeah,
it was fun being back there for
that was fun. That was a fun time.
3 years.
Yeah, about 3 years that lasted.
Little lake back there. It was cool.
And now it's transitioned to doing the Montecito Summerlin Beach Ride Trail Ride thing, and of course the packing, and does a lot of packing for like Forest Service. Got
To the islands.
botanists and all these whatever scientists, and they'll go back country here through Los Padres for about a week at a time, and they're looking for native species. I think they're mapping and documenting so they can, I guess eventually alleviate them or something.
Interesting.
So that's been a good, solid gig for them. And then it's transitioning again into the El Capitan Ranch.
That's
And they're
just
gonna-
starting right now.
There's going to be
That
a
should
whole
be
new.
pretty cool,
That'd
huh?
be really cool.
I just drove through that RV park for the first time right up there.
Yeah.
The first time you went
The
through
newer
there?
one?
Yeah.
It's changed ownership, but they've
Yeah.
kept it pretty much the same. They own the private one. They own
Yeah.
both that.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
So,
And
Like
even
Graham's tied into that.
where Graham's got
yeah, he's
the
on.
horses, they own that piece.
I think the
above
deal
that.
is, trail rides there.
So they're
They've
carving
been
out
building trails throughout the
where they
ranch.
can ride right now and everything. There's trails there.
Yeah, and I think we're to do a couple maybe overnight.
Yeah.
Trying to so I can get on. I'll pack in, have a camp set up, and
Oh, that'd be cool. So now that you're somewhat retired, are you able to get out there with Graham as much or?
not. Well, he's got all these hot little
He's got a lot. Yeah.
chicks working for him, man.
Yeah, he does.
Long time ago, we were talking about it, and he goes, "Man, I just got to get like a bunch of hot
Some hot chicks.
do the rides." And they're awesome. They're all really
They're
good.
really good wranglers. Some of them are from here.
yeah.
Sadie's from here.
Yeah, I had
Sadie.
Sadie here at the shop for a little while, and
Sadie,
I knew,
yeah, and she's
I knew
doing,
she
she's
wouldn't-
doing all the pack trips with Ryan right now.
Sadie's,
Yeah.
she's something else.
she's a go-getter. I knew she
Yeah.
wouldn't last indoors, and I told her
Yeah.
that. I go, "You're not going to last indoors."
Yeah, no,
So she was here for a month or so.
I think she's back
She
in the Sespe right
she
now.
could ride that girl.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She was doing barrels and stuff
Yeah.
and all the rodeo stuff in high school. Sarah Nance and her ran together,
Yeah.
Roger's daughter. So I got to see when they were doing all the rodeo events for high school.
Yeah. Are you talking about
Yeah.
Bree?
Pardon me?
Are you talking about Bree?
Sarah.
Bree Nance or?
This was Roger's youngest.
Okay, yeah, because Bree's older, right?
Bree's older. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's Roger's
Yeah.
stepdaughter, Bree and Talia.
Yeah.
Sarah is the only one that comes from Roger and Stacy. But yeah, she's the youngest.
Yeah.
So they were really good in
And
high
she-
school. They were
she
winning
just-
everything, those two.
Yeah.
and
She was
doesn't
good.
complain or nothing. She just
No, man.
Sadie, yeah.
she just kind of gets her.
We cooked for
job done,
200
man.
people
Yeah.
Yeah,
day before
Good stuff.
yesterday.
yeah. So now it's transitioned more at the moment into, and it has been for a long time, is catering jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which has been a really cool experience because we've been doing it for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
We've been to a lot of these historic ranches,
Dos
Central
Pueblos,
coast area,
Hollister,
the poets at San Julian,
San Julian.
all
Yeah.
these, and Slippery Rock. And a lot of it is maybe they'll have a birthday party or a special wedding. It was some kind of an event. And
You end up back in the places that we're talking about.
then we'll go, you'll ride around on the ranch or whatever and come back and we'll have dinner, lunch or whatever made. One time at Live Oak, we had a group of women, some women's group, and they went riding around and we, had lunch set up when they came back and stuff like that. So we get to go all these bitchin' ranches, do a little riding, but also, have them cooking up these great meals. And that kind of is what transitioned into the catering. Because at one time, things were kind of slow with the packing and trail ride stuff. And I was talking with Graham, and I go, dude, we're doing this kind of stuff already. Why don't we just go full-blown cater? I remember going, catering, catering. And we started doing it
on a small scale.
On a smaller scale. And then the word got out. Like, was it the Los Alamos Club out here?
Yeah.
On the Foxen. I don't know if they still even meet anymore.
We used to cook for them.
I think they
used to cook out there for them quite a bit.
That was more JJ's. That was JJ Hollister's thing when we started doing it.
Los Alamos Club.
Yeah. So it just spread out from there, and we've done quite a few events.
Weddings. Just did Connor Coffin's wedding.
Montecito Trail Association, we do their yearly annual fundraiser barbecue. What the heck? We did the Primavera, the opening deal for the Fiesta Days. It was like 300 fish tacos on a. That was some kind of fun. But that was it. And we've done a lot of events at the Carriage.
We cooked at the museum too.
The Carriage Museum.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
But, the last few gigs have been down at the Carriage Museum. Like KP was saying, a couple of days ago, Friday, it was 200 people.
That's right. Yeah,
life.
KP was, somebody was telling me about that last night.
That was quite a gig. I mean, usually it's the Santa Maria style. You got your tri-tip chicken, bread, salad, whatever. This was like, and we do like hors d'oeuvres of some sort. They had tri-tip chicken, pulled pork,
shrimp,
salmon, and jumbo shrimp,
sausage.
It just was on and on and on.
Work.
Yeah,
it was a lot of work. Yeah,
good,
but it was fun, and everybody's always stoked on the food.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's kind of the update on that.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything that you've been hanging on to that you need to get?
Do you do one-on-one therapy? Guys, I might need this couch to lay out on here and talk to Kev about something.
I could sure.
I think
we can work
that's
that
it.
in.
Well, I really
looking
appreciate
through
you
notes.
guys.
Yeah. It's just, and the history's a lot. Like I said earlier, this whole area.
We could probably sit down for another 2 hours.
Yeah. Get in more details.
Talk about all the fun stuff.
They had at some point, one of the family members had a house built for them at Refugio. The Refugio Ranch people built the house for that. So they're heavy down in that area. Like
were they back up in the canyon a little bit?
I think it's called the Good House, known as the Good House on the ranch. I could be wrong. Anyway, so that area, those pueblos, Refugio, Naples, and San Ynez, a lot of property at one time in Guadalupe area.
Yeah.
Early on.
A lot of really rich history on the coast here. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, guys, thanks, Cody, for joining in. And KP, appreciate you coming.
My brother from another mother.
Matt Miller, thank you for all the information. And
you're welcome.
Yeah. Really appreciate it.
I think Liddle was right when he said we'd probably get along. Yeah. It is like
you guys
the brother that we
we got our brothers are kind of
anyway.
Yeah.
Tough guy to get along with.
I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but
Yeah. It's been a fun ride.